So, we gotta talk about Here's Negan. This is probably the best episode of The Walking Dead in years. Well, actually, it is. Ignoring Rick's final episode, because at least personally for me, I really love that episode. This one here is the best one I've watched in years. I mean, again, ignoring the Rick one, but throughout all of season 9 and 10 and 8 and 7. And I think for most of 6, I know there's some good moments in 6. And I don't know. I would say that this one is definitely better because what I love about this one is just Negan and everything that we got with his backstory. The emotional things between him and Lucille. Man, those things were hard to watch. This is up there. This is in my top 5 episodes of all time. Easily. I can rewatch this over and over again. This episode is so good. Compared to the other 6 episodes, or the other 5 episodes of these 6, this one is like a million miles better than the other ones. Like, I can see why they saved this for last. This one was just monumental. It's nuts. So, of course, before we go any further, I do have to warn you for spoilers, obviously, for The Walking Dead. And also, you may have noticed that there is a join button now on the channel. What I'm going to be doing with the join button is episode commentary tracks of the episode, so I will be posting. It should be live already, but it might not be, but it's coming tonight for sure. It's just I don't know if it's live at this second. It's my reaction / commentary to the episode, so it's just like a commentary track sort of thing. You can time it. I put the timer on there. You time it with the episode, and you can hear my reaction as I'm watching it for the first time. And yeah, I'm going to be doing that every 2 weeks, and then there's members-only live streams, which is going to be a lot of fun. So yeah, consider joining the channel, and yeah, we have a lot to talk about. There's so much to talk about with Here's Negan. And since these 6 episodes are now over, Fear the Walking Dead is starting next week. I have yet to watch Fear the Walking Dead, but these episodes are apparently supposed to be really good, so I also will be filming a reaction sort of commentary track to episode 8. And maybe to episode 9, I'm not exactly sure, but for sure for episode 8, so that'll go live within the next, I guess, week or 2 probably. So yeah, and the plan now is to focus on the final season. Season 10 is now officially done, so now we go on to the final season of The Walking Dead, and there's going to be a lot to talk about. Like, we are now entering the phase of the Commonwealth, the final season, the Rick movie filming most likely next month or maybe later on this month. And yeah, Fear the Walking Dead and all the other spinoffs. So if you are new to the channel and you want more content on all of that, just make sure to be a subscriber. So Rick appears. He actually appears in this episode. I mean, it's from season 8 footage, but still he appears. We do see the final battle scene at the end of season 8 by the tree. That was just awesome. Lucille dropped on the ground. And yeah, he was just reminiscing about that and trying to think, like, that's the last time I had Lucille. She dropped on the ground, and then afterwards, I just kind of passed out, obviously, from losing all that blood. And is she still out here? Because we also saw Michonne in the episode, which was really cool. And he remembered when Michonne said that she's still out there. Like, they didn't care about it. I think that was the best explanation right there for what happened to Lucille, was that no one cared. The bat was still out there. No one cared, right? And it's hilarious because us as fans, the bat is so important to us, right? Like, it's Lucille. It's his weapon. Of course, we're going to think there's this whole story behind it. Someone's hiding it because it's this precious weapon. You got to take care of it, like Daryl's crossbow. But even that, no one cares. Like, these weapons can just be thrown out. Like, they're just another weapon to these characters. And that's what I like about Lucille, the bat. Like, it's of course very important to Negan, but to everyone else, it's just a bat. No one cares. They just left it out there. And so finally, he's reunited with Lucille, and it's just an amazing moment. It really is just an amazing moment. The scripting for this episode was perfect. The plot, the flow, everything. I felt a little concerned a little bit in the beginning with the time jumps. I was worried that it was actually going to have, because they do a thing where they start off in the present and then they jump forward, or back, sorry, like 11 years, 12 years, whatever it was. And then they jumped 6 weeks back, and then they kept going back and back before they started going more forward to the present timeline. And I was worried there was going to be way too many time jumps like the Daryl and Leah episode. But no, everything actually worked out perfectly. Where you're at emotionally with Negan and Lucille, by the time you see Negan playing games and stuff, you understand everything about the characters and where they're at. And like, everything was set up so perfectly. So when we got that scene there where he was playing games and they were arguing about the jacket and she got her diagnosis and stuff, it just filled in a lot of the gaps that we were wondering about. And then they went forward again afterwards, and yeah, all the stuff with Janine came out, and that was, we'll talk about that. We'll definitely talk about that here, because I do wonder if some people are going to have a lot of issues with that. Now, there's this new gang, and obviously they're not really important because they're all gone in this episode, but they capture Negan, and they're gonna throw out all the, I think it's chemotherapy bags, I'm not sure, but Negan needs that medication for Lucille, because Lucille can actually beat this thing. And that's the thing that was so shocking, was I don't know if she was gonna beat it just like with that alone, but she had a really good chance. And not even that, she got her diagnosis right as the apocalypse was happening. Like, that's the worst time ever. The doctor said it's highly treatable. She would have been fine, but this had to happen, and it really screwed them over. It's very, very unfortunate. It's so tragic. And now Negan and Lucille are forced to try and survive, and he's doing so much. He's really helping her out. We also got our savior cameo in Laura, and this new character, I believe he's new. His name's Franklin. First of all, what the hell happened to him at the end? I really like this guy. I do. I don't know what happened to him at the end. I hope we see him again, though. He was just a really cool character. I love this guy. Like, he's got to appear in the future at some point. Like, there's got to be, like, if he was with Laura, maybe something happened to him, but I want to see him again. I really do. And speaking of Laura, she's the one that gave him Lucille, the bat. He named the bat after her later on, obviously. And we never actually got that scene. I guess it was just kind of implied later on that this bat is Lucille. He started to name the bat Lucille, but it was more that he just wanted to give the bat a name, and because the bat meant so much to him. Lucille was also wearing a Half Moon shirt, which was kind of cool. That's a Beta shirt. Weird to think that Negan would be fighting that person later on in a Whisperer war. Like, holy shit. And like I said, Lucille is the one that gave him his jacket. So we got all the more iconic things for the character. We got the jacket, we got the bat, we saw him put the barbed wire around. He didn't have the red scarf, but we saw him with like a red sweater. It kind of mimicked that look. I actually really like that look. If they come up with like an action figure or like some kind of toy of that, I'm definitely getting that. And so this is basically where everything is set up. Is the fridge melted, I guess power went out, and the fridge melted everything, and Negan was forced to go out. Lucille didn't want him to go out, but he was like, I gotta go out. And so this is where we go into the backstory, like the more of a backstory. We hear AC/DC Back in Black, and as soon as I heard that, I was like, all right, this is like the best episode in the world, because Back in Black, and just associating that with Negan, it was so like Marvel Tony Stark like. He's that charismatic, and it's just badass. It's rock and roll, right? Like I loved it. Negan playing some games too online and just shitting on a bunch of kids and stuff. Like, that's so him. He bought this expensive ass jacket. He got fired from his job as a gym teacher because he got into a fight with someone, so he had a misdemeanor or whatever. And yeah, man, he was living the life, like he was. And then we get to Lucille finding out her diagnosis, and then she finds out that Negan was cheating on her with her friend Janine, and so that's why he couldn't pick her up there, and it was just tragic. And oh, that's so bad. That is so bad for Negan. Like not even that, like, you're doing that, first of all, but the fact that she finds out something that bad while you're doing it. I know Negan's not expecting it to be that bad, but still, oh, that's terrible. That's horrible. And that's where we go back. That's where we start to go forward in time more. Lucille tells Negan that she knew the whole time, and Negan's shocked, and that was such an emotional scene. This is where I would say I think some fans might not like the character, because some people are like, oh, once a cheater, always a cheater, right? But I think in some people, they're not like that. Some people definitely, if they're doing that, yeah, they're going to continue to be like that, probably because they're emotionally weak and they don't understand things, and they need to know more about themselves. But Negan got that right away. As soon as he found out, things just went into perspective right away. He worked hard, and he became the man that she knew that he was. Like, that's why she stayed with him. It's because she knew that he was this man and not that person. Like, it's literally why. Like, she loved him that much, and that's why he's crying, because he doesn't deserve that. Obviously, right? Lucille was that loving and caring and gave him so many chances like that. And she said, like, you don't have to make it up to me anymore. I forgive you. Like, you made up for it already. And Negan was just so shocked by that. Like, what? You knew this entire time? And he was crying again. Just an amazing, beautiful scene. Oh, what's hard about this scene too is Lucille wanted him to stay, and he was just like, I can't, like, if I stay here, you're going to die. So he went to go out and get some more stuff. And then when he does return, he does have everything, but she's dead. And again, another emotional, very tragic scene. And this is like right before the final moments of the episode. This is where I was crying. If you check out the commentary track on the members only thing, I was actually, at this point, I was crying, because it hit me like he has to put her down somehow. He has to try, and it was impossible for him. And also, this is kind of like the Rick and Andrea scene a little bit. Like Rick and Andrea in the comic, Andrea dies, she's in a bed. Rick is like sitting on the floor leaning up against the bed, and he can't put her down. He's having a hard time. It's a mixture of that, because we never actually got that scene, and also in the comic when Negan sees Lucille in the bed, and she kind of looks similar. So yeah, but after her loss, he burns down the entire house, and he lives on for her. He's risen. Here's Negan, right? He wipes out that entire gang. I mean, Man, amazing stuff. The music there, it felt like he was a horror villain, like Michael Myers or something. Like, again, this episode from beginning to end is just like, every scene is just crazy to watch. Like, it's good television. It's amazing story writing. And then we get Negan's first Lucille victim. Like, he did kill a guard outside with his bat, but I'm not going to say that's his first victim, because I think you have to be on your knees for that to count, right? And whoever that guy's name was, I don't know what his name was, but the main member or leader of that gang, he was on his knees. Negan gave a speech, like the first of his speeches. This episode is just too damn good. Like, the speech he went into there, he went into character. He became Negan at that point, and then he Lucille's him, and I mean, fill in the blanks from there. At that point, I guess he went to go talk with Laura. They started the Saviors, and it just kind of went on from there. He ran into Simon, and I mean, there's still some stuff we could find out. They probably could fill in the gaps at some point in the future, but Negan decides to burn Lucille. He says goodbye to the bat. He apologizes to Lucille, like, mostly, and says, sorry for naming a stupid baseball bat after you. And then that's the end of Lucille. We're never going to see Negan with that bat again. Like, this was the episode. He let go of Lucille. He let go of the bat. That bat is now gone. That is technically, like, this is kind of a death episode in a way. Like, we saw Lucille die, but we actually saw the bat officially die in this episode. That is it for Lucille. And then he returns to Alexandria, and I love how he returns. He's not the same person he was when he left. When he left, he was very much worried about his safety. He was concerned about Maggie and how she was feeling towards him and all that stuff. And he left. And that's why he thanks Carol for getting him out of there. But in the end, he returns and he calls Carol out. He's like, you know what? I knew you were lying about that. I'm here to stay. I'm going to go help out and do all this stuff. And he walks right by Maggie, and Maggie looks at him like, what are you doing here? And Negan looks at her and smiles and is like, fuck you, Maggie. That's basically what he said. He is now staying there because he believes that he should be there. I think he's going to feel bad for what he did, but also everyone else has done a lot of bad things. He's going to fight for his own survival. He's going to live for Lucille. And I think this episode, like, just, it set everything up so well. This is how I want Negan to be in the final season. I want him to be his usual self, fighting to stay in Alexandria, not who he was before this episode, where he felt so bad for Maggie and he seemed really stressed out and he didn't really know, you know what I mean? I didn't want that less confident Negan. When I see him walking by her, looking at her and smiling, like he knows what his presence is doing to her, but he's also going to fight for his own right there, because again, he's going to live for his Lucille, right? So I love that. I love this episode. This episode is a billion out of 10. like easily. I will rewatch this episode millions of times over the next few months. Like, I love this episode so much. I want to get a poster of this episode. If people are making posters, I want one. If there's a figure of Negan's look with like the red sweater and jacket, and it's like a younger Negan, I'll gladly take one of those too. I loved it. This definitely, like, I hope anyways from everyone it's rated 10 out of 10. And if you do have issues with it, I obviously do understand, well, kind of. I don't really understand if you have issues with it, but obviously some people are probably going to. So if you do have issues with Here's Negan, post your thoughts down below. And also if you have no issues and you just want to talk about the episode in general, also post your thoughts down below as well. But I'll leave it here. I'm going to be posting a video later on with it, or pretty soon anyways, talking about the final season and what to expect. So stay tuned for that. And I'll see you guys in the next one.